Hello, my name is Bonnie and this is my channel, A Knitter Obsessed. This is my knitting podcast where I talk about all things knitting currently going on in my life. And this week I have a lot of whips to go over with you. I have no finished objects, but that is because I've been spending a lot of time working on several very large projects and I just haven't been able to fully finish any of them at this point. However, one of them I'm very excited to talk to you guys about because it's been a whip for almost a year now. It'll be a year in just about 2 weeks. And I just got it to a very, very exciting milestone that I am very excited to show you guys. So before we get into that, I would actually like to talk about what I'm wearing. So this is a lot of fun. This is my Argyle hat. It is a pattern. Sorry, I have notes here, so I'm just going to double check for, designer names and stuff so I don't get them wrong. But this is my Argyle hat by Kaitlin Barthold. This is a free pattern, and I knit this as best as I can tell. I think I knit this back in 2018. So this hat's about 8 years old, and it's so long ago, I don't remember what yarn I used. I know it was a Knit Picks yarn, but I was trying to look through my Knit Picks orders and figure it out, and I honestly have no idea which yarn it was. I do know that it has some silk in it, and so this hat does have a tendency to slightly stretch out a little bit over time. And the fun thing is, I did not enjoy this hat when I first made it. I loved the knitting process, liked the pattern, I remember that. But I think I wore it one time after I knit it, and then I never wore it again. I thought it was too big, I thought it looked baggy, I thought it was just not flattering on me for some reason. And I put it in my dresser and I walked away and I didn't touch it again for years. And then a few weeks ago, I was cleaning out my dresser and I found it and I put it on and I was like, other than being a little dusty, what's wrong with this hat? It's fantastic. So I'm bringing it back. I don't know what changed. I don't know why I like it now, and I don't really remember what was wrong with it before. But yeah, this is my Argyle hat. You can see it's got this really pretty lace pattern along with little slip stitches that give you that Argyle motif, and it's a really pretty pattern. I really like it. I also, the pattern is, like I said, it's a free one if you go through Ravelry, and I had always intended to put a pom-pom on this hat like they show in the project pictures. And again, now that I have it back, I like it without the pom-pom. I think it's perfect. I don't think I'd change a thing. So we're bringing it back. But this is my Argyle hat. I have a feeling you guys will be seeing it a lot more this year. I really like beanies in the winter to kind of get my curly hair to cooperate with the weather when it comes around. So you'll be seeing a lot more of my beanie collection. All right, with that said, let's get into my whips. So I'm going to start with the exciting whip first. I'm not going to hold off. I'm just going to go for it. But I got, oh, wrong one. I got the last of the squares done on my Hue Shift Afghan. And I seamed I seamed sections 3 and 4 together, so I'm going to show it to you all together. But all of the squares are done. It's so exciting. I have been working on this since November 17th, 2023. Was when I first created this project in Ravelry. And for clarification, I already had the first 2 sections done and seamed together. So these are sections 3 and 4. So a little bit about this pattern. This is a pattern available on Knit Picks. I quite like Knit Picks, so you will notice their yarns and patterns come up a lot for me, but I think they're a great company. But this is a pattern by Kerin Dimeler-Laurence, and I bought it as a kit from them, so they sent all of the yarn along with it, so I didn't have to pick out all the individual yarns. And this is knit entirely with Knit Picks Mighty Stitch, which is a worsted weight yarn. It is 80% acrylic and 20% superwash wool. And the blanket is done in 11 colors, which are, just in case you're curious, because they have a few different options on the website. But this is in the colors Navy, Gulfstream, Marina, Mint, Alfalfa, Canary, Satsuma, Serrano, Fairy Tale, Mulberry, and Black. So 11 colors altogether, including the black. So you knit this in 4 sections, and each of the section has 25 of these mitered squares in it. And the squares follow a gradient pattern, so when it's all together, it should make this really lovely rainbow gradient from corner to corner. And I laid it out on the bed. It's gonna look great. I'm really excited for it. And yeah, after you've done each of the 4 sections, you seam them all together, and then you knit a black border, which I have done on the first 2 sections. You can see the black border there. So as of right now, I have all 100 of the squares done, which I am so excited about. Like, there's still more to do on this blanket, but it's like I can really, really see the light at the end of the tunnel all of a sudden. And I'm just so excited. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be beautiful. I can't wait to see it done. But before we get there, I got these 2 sections seamed. I now have to finish weaving in all of the ends. This has been a lesson in patience, this project, as far as end weaving goes, because there's been like, I don't know, if you think about each square most of the squares have 4 ends to weave in, and some only have 2, but most have 4, like somewhere between 300 and 400 ends over the course of this project. Like, it's been a journey, but we're near the end. So I got to weave in the ends. I gotta make the border along the edge of this half. Then I've got to seam the 2 halves together, and then I've got to do the last 2 borders, and then it will be done. And so, yeah, there's still quite a bit of work, so those borders are going to take a little bit of time, but we are so close. I'm so excited. This is going to be a gift, a Christmas gift for my oldest niece. I never got around to making her a baby blanket, and so this is my blanket. I would like to have a blanket made for all of my nieces and nephews throughout their life. And so this is hers, and she had to wait quite a long time to get it because she's turning 11. So, you know, she had to wait over a decade for this blanket. And so I wanted to make her something really big and special and cool, you know, that an 11-year-old might like. So I'm hoping this fits the bill. And then the crazy thing is I have another niece that I need to make a blanket for. And I have about 3/4 of a skein of each color left over, which means that to make an identical blanket, I'd only have to buy 1 skein of each color. So I might make this again next year. I haven't decided yet. I'm on the fence. I can't decide if I want to make my other niece a rainbow blanket of her own using the same colors but a different pattern, or if I just want to go for it and make her a matching blanket so that the 2 of them have matching blankets, which would be really cute. I mean, they'd get them a year apart because I'm not going to put any kind of pressure on myself to knit a second one. But I can't decide. If you know any really fun worsted weight, like rainbow friendly blanket patterns that you think a 7 or 8-year-old would enjoy, depending on how old she is when I give this to her, I'll leave them down below in the comments because I am open to other patterns. I just haven't really looked around that much yet because I was focused on trying to get this one done first. So, but yeah, that's my Hue Shift Afghan. This entire thing was knit on US 7 needle, which is what it called for in the pattern. I assume I'm on gauge. I've never once checked my gauge or how, you know, if I'm getting the right dimensions or anything on this, but I never do with blankets. I just sort of go for it. It doesn't need to fit anyone. So, but you know, it's made like the correct density of fabric and all that. So US 7 needle worked well. And yeah, hopefully I'll have this done in the next couple of weeks and I can show off a finished Afghan, which I would be so excited. And like I said, this is a Christmas gift, so I have plenty of time still. I'm getting it done nice and early, which makes me happy. So no stress. And yeah, that's the most exciting whip by far. Yes. Okay. Moving on to my garments. So my next whip is my Oslo Sweater by Petite Knit. And I've made a good bit of progress on this. I believe last time I showed this, I might have just been working on the back panel or just finished the back panel. I can't remember. I know I didn't have very much done. But now I have most of the body done. I've put the double folded collar on because I just needed to see what it looked like a little bit more sweater-like. And I just tried this on this morning and I have decided it is actually ready for the ribbing on the body. So yeah, it just needs sleeves and body ribbing. It's flying, honestly. This is my sweater. I pretty much only work on this when I am reading or watching lectures for school, or when I'm trying to like have a conversation with someone that I need to focus on. So this is my mindless knitting project. And so that's why it's getting so much work done on it, is because I am a full-time student right now. And so I spend a lot of time reading or watching lectures for school. And so this gets a lot of work done on it. This is knit using Silver Pennies yarn, which I picked up at the Lambtown Festival in Dixon last month. And this is using her Yak U, which is a sock yarn with a little bit of yak in it in the color Aquamarine. Oh, here, I have the balls here, I can show you. This color, held with her Fluff and Stuff in the color Jade. And this is a Surrey alpaca lace weight yarn. And so together they give this really beautiful deep emerald green color that I am just seriously obsessed with. I think it's so, so, so pretty. This is my first time knitting with alpaca, and it is very interesting how much it takes away the stitch definition. Like there's very little stitch definition in here. It just looks happily fuzzy, but in such a beautiful way. Like I absolutely love it. I think it's so stunning, and it's just the softest. It's fantastic. My favorite feature of this sweater is the super extra thick folded over collar. And I actually stopped about 2 rows short from what the pattern had written on this collar, just because it seemed like it was chunky enough. I didn't feel like I needed the extra 2 rows. Not that that would have made a massive difference, but I am happy with my choice. I think it's perfect. I tried it on earlier and it really does fit perfect. I like the ease. I like where the collar sits, all of it. She also has you do a purl row in the collar. That's where it folds. And it's not particularly obvious, especially with this yarn combination, but it did make the collar want to fold really nicely and lay very nicely and nice and flat. So I am happy with that technique. I think it worked out very well. This is a drop shoulder cardigan. There is a little bit of waist shaping in it, and I wouldn't even call it like waist shaping. It's just, it brings it in just a teensy bit. You only do like 3 rounds of decreases, and I was gonna leave it out, but I figured it's my first petite knit pattern. I would just follow it and see how I liked it. And so far, I think it's making it sit really, really nicely, and it doesn't like visibly come in, but it's also not overly bulky anywhere, which I really like. I am knitting the size 2, which I'm pretty much dead on gauge, so this should have about 7 inches of positive ease on me, which is like an inch or 2 less than what the pattern called for, but it's around where I like my sweaters. I don't like them to feel too big on me. I'm not comfortable with a lot of extra fabric. So I think it's gonna be perfect. Yeah, I'm really, really excited about this. I don't have a ton else to say to it. It's really straightforward drop shoulder construction. I picked it because I needed something mindless, and it's really fitting the bill, and I really like it. And I can't wait to finish it and, get to wear it. I'm gonna wear it all the time. So, yep, that's my Oslo Sweater by Petite Knit. And yeah, I'm gonna put that aside. We'll see. I might get this one done in the next week or so, because I have some other mindless knits that I'm excited to get on the needles as well. And so I might kind of prioritize this one for a minute. But I say that sometimes and I don't always follow through, so we'll see. All right, my last whip is my Kip Sweater by Rebecca Clow, which I've got it about this far. So I've made, I believe last time we talked, I was just about ready to connect in the round, but hadn't done it yet. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's where I was at. And so as you can see, I've since connected in the round, and I've got a good chunk of the body knit. I was comparing this in size or in length to my Oslo Sweater, since like I said, my Oslo Sweater is at just the right body length right now. And if I do one more stripe on this, I should be just about ready for ribbing. So we're getting close. This sweater has been a bit of a beast. It is slow going. It has a very dense row gauge, and so it takes a lot of rows to get length. And some days it's just a little discouraging and I don't find myself wanting to grab for it. But I've been trying to make myself grab for it more and more because the actual like stitch pattern isn't anything particularly difficult. So once I'm working on it, it goes fairly quick and it's not a big deal. So it's more of like a mind over matter thing for this one. I don't know what it is about today. I like can't slow down and I feel like I'm talking really fast and I keep getting out of breath. So I apologize if I'm coming off a little crazy. I don't know what it is. I'm maybe just excited to talk about my knitting. Won't apologize for that. That's why we're all here. So, but anyways, yeah, this is the Kip Sweater by Rebecca Clow, also known as the Crayabea online. It's a drop shoulder sweater, but it's not like a particularly large drop shoulder. She calls it like a baby drop shoulder when she talks about it. And once I get to the sleeves, there's actually some short rows in here to have the sleeve drop down your shoulder a little bit more, almost like a little bit of a sleeve cap kind of construction, which I'm excited to try out. The whole thing is done in this slip stitch texture, which for some of the stripes, the slip stitches travel to the right, and for the other stripes, the slip stitches travel to the left, and overall you get this really, really lovely herringbone pattern to the fabric, which I think I've been in love with this stitch pattern since she first started teasing this project on her socials. Like, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. But I'm knitting this in Knit Picks High Desert Sport yarn in the colorway Mountain Bluebird, which is a 100% American wool, non-superwash. And I think it has really, really lovely stitch definition for this pattern. I think it really shows it off. It is not the suggested yarn for this pattern. The suggested yarn is Durarum Natura Ulysses, which is a semi-woolen spun yarn, which I think would have been really cool to try out just because this is a little bit of a dense pattern. Having the woolen spun yarn would have made it a very, very light and just a very, very light sweater, which I think would have been very interesting for this. However, when I picked up the High Desert yarn, it was half off, so it made this a very affordable sweater, and I'm okay with that. And I still think it's going to be very nice. It'll be a little heavier than the way she designed it, but nothing too crazy. I ended up getting, I think I have 500 grams of this yarn, and it's looking like that was about the right amount to buy, just based on how much yarn I've used so far. So yeah, I'm excited for this one. Like I said, we're getting close. I think once I get the collar on and it starts looking a little bit more like a sweater, I'm gonna feel a lot more excited about this project. Because I do really, really love it. I think it looks stunning. I think it's beautiful. But I like only just started to feel like I was making good progress on it very recently for some reason. Like, I don't know what it was about this one. I kept just being like, oh, I'm not getting anywhere with it. And then one day I looked down and I was like, oh no, you almost have the body done. Oh, okay. So I am very excited for this one. I want to get it done so that I can wear it. Because I think it's going to be really good for these like cooler fall months, but where it's not quite as cold for winter, because it is a sport weight yarn knit on a 5.5 millimeter needle, so US 9. And so there's the slip stitches, keep the fabric nice and closed, but there are some little holes in here and gaps, and I think it might be a little breezy for the really, really cold months. Oh my goodness, there's so much dog hair on this. But I could be wrong. Like I said, we'll find out more once I am able to wear it and test it out. But either way, I am excited to get this done. I'm excited to wear it. I'm excited to make some more progress on it. This is the sweater that I am knitting as part of my knit along, which is the Fall Obsessions knit along. It's not a official knit along or anything. There's no prizes or sponsors or anything. But it is just a group of us. I think there's about 25 or 30 of us over on Instagram. And we just have a group chat and we're all sharing the projects we're working on, the projects we're the most excited about for fall, and encouraging each other and showing off our yarn, asking advice when we need it. And it's really just a very lovely space. And It's the reason that I have made as much progress on this as I have, because especially in the beginning, doing the like shaping on the back panel and the front panels and stuff before it was in the round, it wasn't a hard pattern, but it wasn't particularly intuitive either. It took quite a bit of paying attention to see like where in the pattern you were and how to adjust your stitches as you like added increases and all that. And again, not like hard, but just definitely I had to be able to focus when I was working on it for the first while. And having other people in the group chat who were starting it too and who were doing, or starting their own sweaters, or, we were all kind of in that beginning part of knitting sweaters where you are doing a little bit of the like more upfront work. And it was just very encouraging to keep me going. And yeah, I'm happy I got through that. Now that it's in the round, it's really not too big of a deal at all. So yeah. Overall, very excited with this one. So I did say I was knitting on a US 9 needle. That is up a size from what the pattern calls for, which is working out really well. I just wasn't able to meet gauge with the US 8 that was called for. It was really, really tight on me, which I heard that from a couple of other people who knit it in the high desert sport, also had to go up a needle size just because it was not gonna work at the US 8. And I think it was kind of mixed on hitting the gauge with the Ulysses as well. It seems like a pattern that's it can take a few tries on the gauge swatching to get the right gauge. It's also just a very stretchy fabric, so it's a little hard to like actually block the gauge swatch and have it be in the right dimensions and then measure it. Like, it's just a little tricky to work with, but overall, I think that the trickiness is going to be worth a little bit of extra effort, and I'm really, really excited for it. All right. So that is it for whips. I have one acquisition. So I have one acquisition, one interesting observation, and a couple of upcoming plans. So a couple of months ago, I placed a pre-order with Witchfire Fibers. They had a collection called the Duality Collection that they're running with ZZ Textiles, and all of the colors were absolutely stunning. This collection came out right after Flock Fiber Festival. They actually had the colors at Flock, but I didn't see them there. And I was looking at the time for a sock yarn to pair with this yarn that I did pick up at Flock Fiber Festival, which is Treehouse Knits Truffula Cashmere in the colorway I'm Not Broken, Just a Little Chipped. And it's this beautiful kind of light dusty blue color, and I wanted to find a sock yarn to hold with this to make the Cognac sweater with. And so what I picked up was, and it just got delivered a couple days ago, I'm very excited about it, this is Witchfire Fibers Cashmere Blend Fingering in the colorway Ebb. And it's this beautiful kind of almost desaturated kind of greenish blue. It's coming off a little bit more vibrant on the camera than it is in person. But this is, like I said, their cashmere blend fingering. It's 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. And I do think these two colors together are just absolutely beautiful. I really, really like it. It's obviously not a perfect match. There'll be some marling, which I think is going to be really pretty. But both colors in person are just a little bit more gray and kind of muted than they're showing on camera, and together they just complement each other really, really well. So the way I've been organizing my knits lately is that I like to have one with some texture, and I like to have one that's plain stockinette, and so that way I can mix and match what I'm working on. So when I finish my Oslo sweater, I would like to cast on the Cognac sweater next. So this will be my next mindless knit that I get to work on, and I'm really excited for it. If you're curious, when I finish my Kip Sweater, my textured knit that I will be working on is actually going to be to finish my Wishbone sweater by Veronika Lindberg, which I'm not going to pull out right now, but if you look at any of my older episodes, or a lot of my older episodes, I talk a lot about the Wishbone sweater because I've been knitting that for most of 2024, or talking about it, or planning for it, all of the above. So that will be my next textured knit that gets finished because it needs to get off the needle so that I can wear it. But yeah, so this is my one acquisition, was my Witchfire Fibers pre-order coming in the mail, and I'm really, really excited to swatch with these and see how they look together. But my one funny observation that I did promise is that I think I might be in a bit of a color rut. I think I've got a palette right now that I am clearly leaning towards. I'm not upset about it. I love all these colors. I think they are different, but yeah, they definitely, there's a theme going on, and it's cracking me up every time I see my yarn all in a pile together. Because yeah, clearly I'm into a blue and green theme at the moment. So something a little different than blue and green. Let me make sure I have my information. All right. I have had a lot of big projects on the needles right now, and it is making things a little frustrating sometimes in that, like, I'm not seeing super fast progress. And the thing is, I could fix that by just being more of a monogamous knitter and just, you know, focusing and working on things, which is what I did with the Hue Shift Afghan the last few days, and it got done. Like, clearly when I focus on a project, I make a lot of progress on it. But I also know myself, and I just have a really hard time sticking to one project. I tend to hop around. And so because of that, I just see progress quite a bit slower than I could if I had less things going on. And it is what it is. That being said, every now and then I'll kind of get an itch to like have a quick win and like feel like I'm finishing something. And so I've been feeling that, and I've been feeling like I need a smaller project on the needles that can maybe, you know, be a little bit more portable and go out and about and just see some quick progress. And so my plan is to use this lovely alpaca and merino yarn that I got from Mendocino Wool and Fiber at the Boonville County Fair. And this is a yarn mill I think in Ukiah. So they have, like I said, they're mostly a yarn mill, but they do sell some yarn. And so I picked this up, and it didn't have a label or anything, so I'm going off of memory, but I'm pretty sure it was 50% alpaca and 50% merino. And it's really soft. It's really nice and lovely. It's got quite a lot of vegetable matter in it that I'm going to have to pick out as I knit it up, and that's okay. I'm not positive what weight of yarn it is, because like I said, there was no label, but I think it's somewhere in the like heavy worsted, maybe Aran realm. Is definitely a little chunkier than a DK. And so my plan is to use this to knit. It's called Yet Another Cable Hat by Robyn Fieri. And this is a free pattern, and it's just, it's a beautiful cable pattern hat. It has these large sort of big cables that come into each other, so they almost look like a little braid, but not a braid. It's not a braided cable, but it kind of gives that effect. And then there's these small little cables in between them, a big chunky folded brim, and I think it'll look just stunning. That one I am planning or considering. I haven't decided yet. We'll see how it feels when I actually knit it, but putting a pom-pom on it I think would look really, really cute and just very wintry and snuggly and cozy. But yeah, I'm hoping to cast that on soon, because I love doing cables. I think cables are really fun. And I think cables in a hat are like particularly enjoyable because it's just so quick. Like you just get to, you know, there's not a lot of time between doing cables. Like you get to them fast, you get to see them build up quickly. There's a lot of like instant gratification in a hat, and I really like knitting hats, and I haven't knit one in a long time. So I think that'll be getting cast on soon. Probably gonna try and finish the Hue Shift Afghan first, so I don't have too many projects on the needle at once, but we'll see. Because like I said, I do need a portable project right now. Everything I have going on is a little too bulky to carry around with me, and I don't like that. I like being able to put something in my purse. So that's the plan there. All right, I think that's all I have. I still feel like I cannot slow down. I feel like I'm talking so fast. If I have been, I am sorry. I'm just excited, you know? But that's all I have for today. I'm gonna get back to knitting because it's really nice weather for it, and I kind of want to go bundle up and sit on my back porch and knit while I, you know, drink some tea or something. I think that'd be a really nice way to end my day. And yeah, I will see you guys back here soon. It's been lovely sitting down and talking with you. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. I read all of your comments. I always love them. If you've liked any part of this video, please give it a like. If you're not subscribed, give it a subscription or hit the subscription button. Those things really, really help my channel, and they really help YouTube get the video out to other people who might enjoy it. And it's really, really appreciated. So thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.